When I need answers about anything to do with personal growth, I go straight to my mom and my aunt. Here they are, Priscilla Babin and Tina Gilliatt with the sister sauce.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sister Sauce, episode
Hello.
6. Hello. It's me, Priscilla Babin, and this is my beautiful sister, Tina Gilliatt. How you doing, sis?
I'm doing great. Before we go on with our usual topics, I want you to share what your week has been like.
Oh, my week?
Surprise.
It was a very busy week. I had my beautiful two older children, Renee and Nico, came in from their places where they live to go with us. We went on a little vacation. We went to Margaritaville. We went to the one in Biloxi, and we had a real fun time doing. They have an arcade that's full of games. They have a really cool rock wall that's on a volcano. I mean, none of us did that. We're all kind of afraid of heights, so that didn't get done by us. But the watching the other people do it was fun, and they had they have some really good restaurants there and stuff. We didn't even leave the place the whole time, but we only stayed 2 nights. Kept it real simple, just a little quick getaway for me and the little kids. They're not little; they're all big, but
I was going to say none of your
yeah.
children are little anymore, but that's
But
awesome, though. It's good
it's
to have family time.
it is, and it's if you want something real simple to do, that's not one of the big things like Disney or Universal, something like that, and you want to do something that's still family fun and sort of quiet, the and being we were in there during the week and not on the weekend. I think that helped. There was less people there, so it was real chill, and we had our delicious food and beverages, and the kids played, and it was a good time. The rooms were really nice and clean, and they have a nice variety of choices in the rooms. I was able to get a queen uh double suite, I think it's called, for the two older kids to stay in together, and me and the two younger ones had I think it was a king family suite, which has one king size bed and a set of bunk beds,
That's
which
awesome.
which was nice. So
I mean, the pictures you sent to the room were great. It looked wonderful. Well,
mhm.
that's great. Family time and for a good occasion for Thanksgiving. And we had a great time yesterday, eating with family and
Yeah.
enjoying each other's company. I
Yeah.
wanted to share also, or not share, but just to ask you, I know I'm surprising you with all these unexpected topics, but I wanted
Yeah.
to ask you, so today is typically considered the start of Christmas season, Black Friday, and I wanted to ask you, what is your favorite Christmas movie of all time?
Oh my gosh, that's hard.
I
um
know.
well, my favorite movie that I always watch at Christmas time is You've Got Mail.
Oh, I love
Every
that one
Christmas I
too.
have to watch You've Got Mail. Also,
Not really a
um,
Christmas movie, but it has Christmas in
no,
it.
it has a little Christmas in it, so that's why we ended up watching every Christmas. It's got a little Thanksgiving in it too, so technically, both. Also, The Holiday, that's the name of it, right? I'm not losing.
Yes, that's
The
exactly right.
Holiday with Kate Winslet and Jude Law and Cameron Diaz and Jack Black. If you haven't seen that one,
Oh my
it's
gosh,
so
so
good.
good. So
It's
good.
really a feel-good movie, and just it's a very what's the word? Aesthetic, like it's a beautiful movie. It's a feast for the eyes. There's a lot of beautiful color, and just it's a oh, I love that movie.
I'm with you. Those are two of my favorites as well. And I'll also agree with you that I have a hard time narrowing down what my favorite one would be. I love them all, especially all the Hallmark movies and lots of Lifetime Christmas movies. I think Love Actually is one of my favorites. That's
Mm.
another one that's not technically, I guess, a Christmas movie, but it's at Christmas time. The movie is
Mhm.
at Christmas time. So I love that. And then one that's completely out of the ordinary is Die Hard with Bruce Willis.
Yes, that's a great debate, right? Is it or is it not a Christmas movie? A lot of people swear it is a Christmas movie. A lot of people say no, that if you call it a Christmas movie, it somehow takes away from the action. I don't think it does. I think it's a great movie, and if you want to make it part of your Christmas watching itinerary, I think it's good.
A couple of years ago, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say there's a brand new Christmas movie coming out. I think it's called Family Swap. Have you seen the ads for
I
that?
have seen the ads for
It's
that.
Ed Helms and Jennifer Garner, who I love both of them. And I recognize the kids who were in it. I know the one little girl was on Wednesday, the series Wednesday about Wednesday Addams. But it looks real cute, and it's like Freaky Friday. In fact, they make a little joke referring to 13 going on 30, which was another SWAT movie Jennifer Garner was in the little trailer for it. So it looks real cute. So I'm interested in seeing that one. What were you gonna say? I'm sorry. I probably
Oh,
threw you.
no, that's okay. That's okay. I was going to say about Die Hard that a couple of years ago, I begged Olivia and AJ to watch a Christmas movie with me on Christmas Eve night. And they both were begrudgingly willing to do it, but they were both dreading it. I could see it because neither one of them is a big Christmas movie fan. So while they were out of the room, I went onto the Fire Stick and found Die Hard on one of our apps, and that's what we watched. And
Oh my
Livia had never seen it before, and I was just so tickled because she did enjoy it tremendously. And I was so tickled. And I said, see, it wasn't so bad watching a Christmas movie with me.
There you
It was a
go.
lot of fun. I
Switched it
enjoyed it.
up.
Yeah.
If
Well,
y'all don't know, Tina's a huge Christmas nerd.
I'm a Christmas nerd. And so yeah, I'm
Tina
excited.
watches Christmas Hallmark movies all year round.
And my husband said, do we have to put up Christmas decorations this year? And I am shockingly saying maybe not, because as you know, we are trying to get ready to sell our house. And just the thought of taking all that stuff out when we've done so much work on the house and trying to finish that up, even we're still not finished. So we'll see. We'll see. It's a big debate right now. And I'm leaning his way because I already depersonalized the whole house.
Oh,
And, I feel like I'm in
it's so pretty when y'all decorate, though.
I know it really is. I don't know if that would make a difference with selling it.
That's what I'm wondering.
You
Maybe
ready
give
for some
somebody
hot
some
sauce?
interest. Yeah, you got some hot sauce?
I do. It's not like hot, but it's a little peppery.
Okay.
And I just want to share, as the mother of a drug addict, my son PJ passed away in 2018. I have done a lot of research and I have a page called Loving the Addict, which I'll share that in the show notes because I've been posting some articles about this same topic. And that is that the holiday season is a very difficult time for addicts and their families. And so I would just encourage everyone to be cognizant of that. Sometimes the addict is not invited to join the family with family gatherings for obvious reasons, because sometimes they bring drama and that's understandable. And it's perfectly acceptable for families to say, for extended families to say, we're going to say, no, they're not invited. However, it is very hard on the family and also on the addict who is already feeling unlovable. And I just want to encourage everybody to consider that. And also, recovering addicts, consider how you can support them through the holidays, because this is a difficult time for them as well. And if they're exposed to a lot of alcohol or other forms of self-medication over the holidays, it's really difficult. So it's sort of sauce for thought too. Just think about that and be aware. And if you're interested, take a look at my Loving the Addict page and you'll find some links to articles about how you can support your loved one who's going through addiction. And that is my whole philosophy about handling a family addiction, is just keep loving them, because they're not doing this by choice. It is a disease. And so I just wanted to share that and get people thinking about it.
All right.
And
Nice.
we have a great topic today.
We do. Our meat sauce today is about being thankful, right?
Yes. Gratitude.
Gratitude. Have an attitude of gratitude.
That's right. That's right.
Gratitude?
Our whole take on it is that gratitude actually improves your health. If you express gratitude and practice gratitude, it improves your health. And so we're going to share some of our research with you this week, and hopefully it's interesting to you and valuable. You want me to go first?
Sure.
Okay. Well, I took the lead in researching this topic because Priscilla was enjoying her children, and I had some fun with it. And Priscilla also found some other great information that had a different take, and I love that as well. But we'll start with what the Mayo Clinic says about gratitude. They have an article called Expressing Gratitude to Improve Health. And just 2 points that I pulled from that article that I thought were really strong. And one is that gratitude should be practiced daily. So you can't just say, I'm thankful. You have to actually purposefully be intentional about your gratitude and recognize the things you have to be thankful for. And then the other one is that it just talks about how being grateful can change your whole biology. Positive gestures benefit you by releasing oxytocin, a hormone that helps connect people. And some people call it the love hormone. That's a quote from the article. And they also add that the benefits are not only for the person feeling grateful, but also the person they're expressing the gratitude to. And so I thought that was a lovely take on it.
That really is. That's awesome.
It reminded me of the whole speech from, what's the movie, Legally Blonde, where she says something about exercise produces, what's the word? The hormone, endorphins, and endorphins make you happy and blah, 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 blah. And she does the whole thing about that. It was really cute.
We also had an article Tina found from Psychology Today on 5 surprising ways gratitude improves your health. And the first one is that it reduces your physical and mental symptoms of distress. They had a study of 200 chronic pain sufferers, and it showed that their study showed that when they expressed gratitude, they reported less depression, anxiety, fatigue, inflammation, and insomnia. And I mean, it just makes sense, because if you feel stressed out and crummy all the time, and that's all you're thinking about, you know, and when I talk later about the article, the essay, I guess, I don't know if it's so much an article that I found, it really
blog post, I guess.
that. Yeah, it's a blog.
Yeah, I loved it, by the way. I know I didn't get a chance to share with you how I felt about it, but it really made me think about several things. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And, you know, one of the things about the whole pain, helping to reduce pain, I should say. I met this guy. I was at a conference one time, and somebody purposefully introduced me to him because it was probably 3 or 4 years after PJ was burned in the fire. And this guy had been electrocuted and burned over his whole body. And PJ had what was considered 3rd-degree burns. This young man had 4th-degree burns. And my understanding of it, and I hope I'm not speaking incorrectly, was that 4th-degree burns are when it's internal and it damages bone and tissue inside of you. And obviously, when you're electrocuted, it's inside out. So it becomes 4th-degree burns. And his name was Matt. I can't think of his last name, or I would share that. But he was the sweetest guy. And I was telling him about how PJ had become addicted to pain medicines because of the burns and how painful they were. Of course, he had struggled with addiction prior to that, but this just kind of sent it over the edge. But Matt was telling me that he had to get off of all painkillers because he knew he was going to be addicted. And so he got off the pain medicines. And I said, how do you manage? And he said, a lot of sleep, because chronic pain wears you out, right? It makes your heart rate higher and it wears you out. But he said a lot of it has to do with my attitude. He said, I just don't think about it. I think happy thoughts. And he said, I'm thankful for everything that is good in my life. And by doing that, he said, I feel like I'm sorry, I thought it stopped recording for a minute. He said, by doing that, I am distracted from the pain. And so that's sort of kind of on the same order as what the study showed, that if you focus on something different, gratitude in this case, it can help eliminate your pain. That same article talked about positive changes in your brain. And it said that when you feel and express gratitude, it enhances dopamine and serotonin, sort of what we just talked about, and makes you happier.
And remember when I brought up the idea of making sure you drink your water and how it affects everything?
Oh, for sure.
The gratitude is the same way. It seems your energy level and all these things. If we have that attitude of gratitude, it also enhances our connection with others. Obviously, if you're appreciative of other people, that feels good to them, and it strengthens your bond with them. I would imagine a lot better than just complaining to them all the time.
Oh,
which
for
is
sure.
something I've had to be more mindful of. So
it's true.
The energy out of the room if you're negative all the time.
I like that. That's such a great description of it, because it's true. If you have one person that is so negative, and my husband admittedly will share that he used to have a negative attitude about a lot of things, and he's changed that a lot, and he's much happier. And negativity can cause you health issues. And so I'm hoping that some study will show that road rage makes you unhappier. And I have so many friends that have road rage, and I cannot find the proof that they need to stop it. But oh well.
It's easy to do with the way people drive around here.
It's true. We do live in New Orleans.
It's
another thing that I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
I said it's everywhere.
Oh, for sure. That's true. That's what I was telling. We were talking about it the other day. I said in Texas, I remember driving, I think it was Texas, where I had to keep driving some loop. And I was just like, I thought I was going to have road rage for a minute. Okay, one of the things the article, this is actually from Psychology Today. I don't know if I said that, but that article talks about keeping a gratitude journal. And I have a lot of friends that do that. It's a way to be purposeful about your gratitude, right? It helps you think about what you're grateful for.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Regulating stress. And you hear all these good hormones and brain chemicals and stuff you get from gratitude, the oxytocin and the serotonin and all this stuff. But when you're constantly stressed out, or that's all you're thinking about is the stuff you're stressed out about. Not talking about me, yeah. Then good hormones and brain chemicals in, bad hormones and brain chemicals out, right? So if you've got so much of the good ones going, it helps to lower your cortisol, which is your stress hormone, which is so bad for you in every way. Just cortisol pumping through you all the time has negative effect on your organs and on your ability, your metabolism and your ability to just have energy, all of that. Cortisol is poop.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when you said about the energy, because it wears you out and you don't even realize it sometimes. I've gone through periods in my life where I had extreme stress, and I'll think to myself, why am I so tired? Why am I so tired? And then somebody will say, well, stress wears you out. And then I realize, oh, that's what it is. I've been so stressed out that I'm just not sleeping and not getting the rest I should, or just extra tired because of it. There was a really great quote in the article. It said, think of gratitude as a garden you plant. When you start incorporating gratitude practices into your activities of daily living, at first you won't see an immediate change in your outlook on life. Lasting improvements in your emotional and physical health take time, but they will come if you are diligent. In fact, setting the intention to plant a gratitude garden in and of itself speaks to your capacity for hope and a more fulfilled life. And when the fruits of gratitude do show up, it will have been well worth the effort. So plant a gratitude garden. I love that.
That's beautiful.
It is. It is.
We gotta plant our garden. That's kind of
making me cry. No, I'm kidding.
That reminds me of Candide by Voltaire.
Oh,
Not read Candide by Voltaire. Check that out, because there's a whole thing
I
about
don't think I've ever read Candide. I'm familiar with it, but I've not read it.
I know I read it in high school. I don't know why.
Probably required reading.
I don't think so. I think it was just one of those weird things. Maybe mom quoted it to me and then I wanted to read it. And then I ended up naming a turtle after Candide. So we also had an article called 7 Ways Gratitude Impacts Your Health from Cleveland Clinic. It takes a different approach and talks about real specific ways that gratitude improves our emotional well-being. And one of the things they said was that you can boost your self-esteem by shifting your perspective to something good that has happened or something for which you can be thankful. So if you're dealing with a bad situation and you shift your perspective, thinking about something good that has happened, it can actually make you feel better about yourself, which is, it's a little different, right? Not just feeling less bummed out, but you actually feel better about you, that's helpful too. Because if you constantly badmouth yourself to yourself, then you'd be down.
Not that we would ever do that.
Don't do it. No negative self-talk.
I'm famous for that, negative self-talk.
I'm famous for saying no negative self-talk. No negative self-talk, and then I do it anyway. I do it in
same.
Sneaky.
Yes, we can always teach, but we can't always do what we teach.
It's hard. Yeah,
it's true. It's true. But I do like that, because you think about it, it does make you feel like, if you shift your perspective, it makes you feel better about the situation. But I didn't even think about it from that standpoint, that it also makes you feel better about yourself. And I'm sure there are logical reasons why, but I can't think of any offhand, other than that just knowing that you're coping better makes you feel better, right?
Yeah.
And sort of like looking at the rainbow or the silver lining of any situation. I try to do that. It's not always effective, but I do try. Did you know that gratitude strengthens relationships too? It's sort of what I talked about before. That one article said that it's good for the person being grateful, but also for the recipient of the gratitude. And when you think about it that way, if you're thankful to someone, it does change their whole perspective, and it makes your relationship better.
I guess it's not just them feeling appreciative, like I was saying before, but also you actively working to appreciate them makes you appreciate them more, makes them
appreciate you, because they see that you're working at it, right?
Yeah, and you're less critical of their faults, maybe, than you would be if you didn't appreciate the things that are good. That's very psychological. Woo, going deep. And another one, they said you can foster healthy habits by being grateful for small changes. For example, if you change your diet and start eating healthy instead of getting frustrated when you don't lose weight immediately, be grateful that you made the choices and that you have the ability to make those choices and changes. So don't forget the small stuff.
Right. Yeah, I like that too, because we you and I have both dealt with the weight struggle, right? And I know for me, whenever I've gone on a diet to lose weight, it's frustrating because the weight doesn't come off anywhere near as fast as you put it on. And then when you're in the process of trying to get it off and it's so slow and some weeks are not good, it does affect your attitude and you think, why am I doing this? But if you focus on what am I doing better? I'm eating healthier, I'm drinking more water, I'm exercising. I'm not, but I'm just saying, if you are grateful for the things you are doing to change your life and to change your health, then that's an excellent point. It's being thankful for those things will help you sustain that new change in your life. And one of the comments that article made was to be intentional about your gratitude and do a journal, which I have to say, every single article I read, we're only sharing from a few, but I read a bunch. Every single article brought up the gratitude journal. And it really made me think about the fact that if I did that and started writing a gratitude journal, that maybe it would make me physically feel better because I've struggled with some health issues and just getting old and not feeling as I know I'm super old, but it just as you get older, you start feeling the effects of all these things we feel, menopause and everything else you're going through. And it's just frustrating, but it can make you feel better if you focus on the gratitude.
It really can. I have to say, just having all my kids together made me feel, more energetic and more excited.
I can tell.
I felt younger this week because I had all my little chickens in my nest.
Oh, that's so awesome. I could tell. I mean, in your texts and in phone conversations, I could tell you were just enjoying it so much. You sounded like you were healthier. You sounded energetic and I loved it. I'm so happy you got to do
Playing
that.
in the arcade, clapping for each other when we were bowling. It was fun.
Awesome.
Like a youth injection.
Good for you. Good for you. Send those babies my way.
Yeah, really. We have to bring you
hang out with Aunt Tina for a day.
we get another room. Bring you and AJ along.
There you go.
And Libby, we'll all pack in. The next one we had on our list was to put your efforts into things that you care most about. Volunteer to help others who are impacted by those issues. So volunteering is a great way. It sounds backwards because you're the one who's giving, but it really increases your gratitude too, because you see what other people are dealing with and you're helping them. And then in turn, like it said earlier in this same article, it boosts your self-esteem because you're focusing on what you're doing and not necessarily just on the results. And it makes you feel better and grateful. So volunteering, and not just volunteering, like going to a food kitchen or something, a soup kitchen or whatever, and doing something like that, but even on a smaller scale, doing something nice. Do something nice for your sister. Take her on a vacation.
Yes.
And take you away.
Calgon. That's awesome. Yeah. And that probably builds your self-esteem too, because you start to feel that you're not only living for yourself, right? You have to, I always used to say, I never ever did any of the things I did volunteer wise. And I've been a volunteer my entire life, as have you in church. And but I never really thought of it as sacrificial because I was happy I was helping other people and I wanted to help other people and to help with causes. But that was not the only benefit of it, the benefit of how I felt and the energy that it gave me. It's sort of like giving a gift and then you the giver is who feels it. I don't know. I'm not expressing that well, but you know what I mean. You giving a gift. I used to be more excited watching people open Christmas presents that I bought for them than opening the gifts that people gave to me. I always got more joy from watching other people than I did from my own gifts.
100%. I agree. Yeah.
Especially our kids. It's so much fun to watch them open presents.
Oh, yeah. And then every once in a while, you'll think something's so great and you can't wait to see them open it. And it's like, oh.
Oh, a PlayStation 4. Thanks, Mom.
I missed the mark. Oh, thank you for this deodorant. No.
That's what I read. I read a meme that was something about and it's not a meme. I know it's probably not a meme. I don't even know what a meme is. But anyway, I read this graphic that said moms everywhere. Kid, Mom, I need toothpaste. Mom, put it on your list, on your Christmas list. I'm like, yes, for real. I'll wrap up anything and put it in the stocking for sure.
Oh, and just as an aside, my sympathies to any of those of you who have birthdays at Christmas time or close to Christmas time. That'd be my brother-in-law, Greg. Sorry, Greg.
Oh, yeah. AJ too, but not as close as Greg. AJ's is on the 8th. So yeah. I always felt like he got cheated. One year at church when we sang when we sang Happy Birthday to the December babies, I made the comment, I'm so happy to have my Christmas gifts and my birthday gifts combined, said no one ever.
Really? If you got to share your birthday and it's with Jesus, I mean, come on.
That's a little bit. See, I had to kind of share my birthday with Jesus a little bit because my birthday has fallen on Good Friday and Easter several times. And so when it was on Good Friday, it was sort of depressing. But when it was on Easter, it was nice, but I still had to share my day with the big guy.
Yeah.
And the competition is too great. So
yeah, it's kind of like, oh, by the way, happy birthday.
When we went years ago, I used to do AJ's day for AJ because I always felt like he got cheated at Christmas because we were spending so much money on the kids for Christmas that I never ever had any money to buy AJ gifts for Christmas. And so I would wait and do an AJ's day like in April or whenever we recovered from our Christmas debt. I might have to do that this year.
Oh, wow. That gets me on a whole nother train of thought, but I'm going to derail it so that we can stay on the right one. Oh, my goodness. One of the other things that we had, let's see, I want to make sure I'm staying on track here. We had parents should model good behavior for their children and instill an attitude of gratitude, which just goes, we've talked about this almost everything we've talked about, how to raise up good children, or not good people, future good adults is that positive modeling of correct behavior or positive behavior. And if you don't have an attitude of gratitude and you're grumpy all the time, like me,
you are not grumpy all the time.
I feel like I am lately. Not all the time, constantly, but too much.
A lot of stress. Cut yourself some slack. No negative self-talk.
Right. I'm sorry, self.
But yeah, your sister around every day to build you up. You're supposed to text me whenever you start doing that negative self-talk so I can derail that for you.
Okay. So have a good
Stop it.
attitude of gratitude for your kids. If you are around, whether it's your own kids or if you have grandkids or nieces or nephews, try to have a good attitude of gratitude so they can see it in action and repeat that good behavior.
Yes. And basically what I learned from all of my research and the articles that we've shared, and we'll put those in our show notes, is that you have to be purposeful in practicing your gratitude. Look for the things to be grateful for. And if a gratitude journal helps you with that, awesome. But Priscilla found, or she actually received, an
Mhm.
email from Nadia Boltz-Weber, who is someone she has admired and read books by, and she sent me the article and I loved it. And I'll let you share, Priscilla. It was sort of a different take on gratitude, or just a different perspective of what it's like to have to feel that gratitude when you don't want to. And so why don't you share about that article?
Okay, I don't want to read the whole article out to you guys, so I'm going to try to kind of get to the gist of what she was saying. She was an addict and an alcoholic when she was younger. Nadia Boltz-Weber. She's a Lutheran pastor in the ELCA. I love all of her works. She's very sassy and saucy, and I appreciate her very honest and open demeanor. But she talked about how she struggled with gratitude, and she still does, but she struggled with gratitude a lot, especially after she first got sober. And she would hear people talking about how great things in their lives were, and it really frustrated her. And it took her a lot to admit that feeling grateful felt wrong somehow. And she just wanted to look at all the negatives and feel wounded and feel sorry for herself. And eventually she was able to, you know, realize that it was her problem with gratitude, and not that she really had that difficult a life. She had a hard time pinpointing all the good things and all the positive changes, and she didn't know why she had such a hard time with gratitude. And it seemed like it was more like she was afraid of feeling grateful, because almost like it would jinx the positive that was going on in her life. And that's something I really can identify with. And I have a tendency to constantly be waiting for the other shoe to fall, kind of, like, oh, this is broken and now it's fixed, but something else is going to break, you know. And that's been my that's been my life literally for months. It's like water heater goes out, oh, now it's leaking gas, and oh, this light is flashing on, oh, need a whole new electrical panel. It's like the warranty ran out on my house or something, and my vehicle and everything else. And so it's like I'm afraid to be happy. Like if I be happy, it's going to tempt the devil to come and break something else or mess something else up for me. And it's a very uh what's the word, superstitious kind of attitude, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, I don't believe in karma. Karma is a religious belief. It's not an everybody thing. And a lot of people treat it like karma is this real thing that's just like natural consequences, but karma is not the same as natural consequences. Karma is that through that, the faith that believes in karma, which I'm not going to get all into that, but that if you do something bad, something bad's going to happen to you. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a natural consequence of that thing. If you stand on the edge of a cliff and you fall in, that's natural consequences. That's not karma. Natural consequences is just sort of obvious and logical, right? And superstition is when I say, I don't want to say my car's running real good, because then it won't. That's superstitious. And that's where I kind of fall into that, where I'm like, if I don't want to notice that I haven't been having any problems, with the water heater or the microwave.
Yeah,
Or
and you know what? I
whatever.
can totally relate to that because I've been there too. And I think, especially listening to or reading Nadia Bolz-Weber's article, I know that a lot of sober addicts have that same fear. It's
Mhm.
not that they're afraid to be happy. And oh, in fact, I just finished reading Matthew Perry's autobiography or listening to the audiobook, and he talks about that, how one of his, it was almost exactly what Nadia Bolz-Weber said in the article. One of his sponsors challenged him. They said, "What is wrong with you? Do you love the drama? Why do you keep doing this to yourself?" And he said, "I don't love the drama. How can you say that?" And then he goes into a long description and realizes that he's so afraid that if he gets sober, he's not going to be able to stay there. And I remember thinking that about PJ when he struggled with addiction, that it was like he was so afraid to succeed. If he had a job and was doing well at it, the moment his bosses started praising him, because he was a good kid at heart and he really tried hard and he was willing to work. But the moment we all started praising him for how well he was doing, he would quit the job or he
Mm.
would do something stupid like not go to work when he was supposed to. And it was self-sabotage because he was so afraid that somebody else was going to take that good stuff away. And you see it all the time in movie plots. I don't want to lose this person, so I'm not going to let them know I love them.
Mhm.
And it's a common movie thread. But
Mhm.
I totally get what you're saying. And I think that anyone who has had a life of turmoil, as you have, you've been through your share of difficulty in your lifetime, and you're not that old. And I know I have as well. It I don't think that either of us has had as horrible a life as a lot of people, but we've both been through a lot. I lost my house in a hurricane. I lost a child to addiction. My husband had cancer. You lost your husband. You had many things happen with Ken throughout his ministry that were really difficult. And Jerry, when he had his struggles. And it's just, it's life. And some of us I always used to think that people who lived a stress-free life, obviously were going to go to hell. That was my thought, because the devil's not even working on them. But I don't necessarily believe it's spiritual warfare anymore. I think it's just life. And
Mm.
it happens to some more than it happens to others. And it's just how you deal with it. And I think you have handled it very well.
I
I
can.
I think I have too. But I wanted to say something too that I read in Nadia Bolz Weber's article that you didn't touch on. You sort of did, but not directly. And she talked about how it's very difficult to feel gratitude when there's such a sense of entitlement there.
Yeah.
And didn't you read that? And
Yeah.
I thought, wow. And I've heard it said that, what's the generation that they the
Which
generational term, um
which
gen-
one? Gen X?
I don't think it's that. I don't know. I must be. Anyway, one of the generational things that people have talked about is that the youth today feel entitled. I forget how they refer to it though.
Millennials get a lot of
Millennials.
Yeah,
That was the
millennials
term
get a
I
lot
was
of
looking
beef
for.
about feeling entitled, but I know some millennials and they don't, not
I,
all of them. It's
I
You
agree.
can't generalize like that. And
I agree.
I don't feel like I can't identify with Gen X on some things because they're like, "Oh, we raised ourselves and we were latchkey kids." And I always felt like there was somebody taking care of me. I was the baby of the family. I was very spoiled. I will be the first to admit that. And to our older
I'll
brothers, I'm
second
still
that.
the
No, I'm
baby at
kidding.
50 years old. So you can't generalize too much on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and to clear this up. I'm not saying that I believe that the many millennials are entitled. They
Oh,
feel
no.
entitled. I just say I referred to it because that was a whole thing for a while. Everybody kept saying
Right.
all these millennials are so entitled, and I always thought that's because you only know certain millennials.
Right.
It's
Mhm.
not all of them. And I know some wonderful entitled, wonderful millennials, and they're not feeling entitled. And I just wanted to say maybe these young people and older people, because I've met some really entitled older people,
Yeah.
maybe it's that they're lacking in gratitude. They're not
Maybe.
grateful for what they have. And so I don't know.
Well, it's like Nadia says in her blog, she was always so worried about herself that it was self-centeredness that is sort of the same as feeling entitled, because you're constantly worried about yourself, that it's almost like, and I don't know if she specifically said that in there because I can't remember right now, but
I think so. I think she did.
like if you like it's like you put up this guard around yourself. You know what I mean? Like you're constantly feeling defensive if you're in her position, trying to put a barrier up so that she would not fall back into addiction and alcoholism, a lot of like a protective barrier.
Sure.
And that's then all that's inside of that is yourself. So that's all you're thinking is, I'm taking care of myself. I need to take care of myself. And anytime somebody else is having something positive, and that goes even back to when we were talking about social media last week, talking about that fear of missing out. You don't know what's going on the other side of that screen for that person.
For real.
And,
Yeah.
and so, you got to get her out of your own head, or else you won't be able to be grateful. And what I really liked about her is that she admits that she still struggles with it and it does not come naturally, but you have to be mindful and make an effort to go above and beyond and you have to think about your thoughts. She said there was
Yeah.
one particular incident where she found out about an event that was happening, and she's a very popular public speaker in certain venues, and there was something that was coming up, and she found out one of her colleagues was asked to speak and she wasn't, and she felt slighted. Her first gut reaction was to be like, well, why didn't I get asked? And she was in the middle of a beautiful trip to Antarctica, and she was surrounded by nature and all this beauty, that God created, and she was having beautiful meals, and she was on this cruise ship. She was having a great time, and that was her first thought. And she
Yeah.
had to actually laugh at herself and she said she laughed out loud at herself because she was like, I can't believe I'm feeling ungrateful, and jealous of this other person getting something I thought I deserved, when I'm in the middle of this beautiful place that nobody, tons of people never get to see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you really have to think your thought and then rethink your thought.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was really poignant too. And she said, I know it's human nature to do that. And it is. So we have to sort of defy human nature and purposeful. But you know what? It's like anything. I did way back when I first joined Toastmasters, I did a speech about faith. And I'll never forget this because one of the points that I made was people would always say to me, oh, you have so much faith. And which, one of my pet peeves is that if I say I'm sad my son died and somebody says, Tina, you have to have faith. That's a pet peeve of mine because I can't miss my son. That seems to be like I'm not having faith. I mean, come on. So there's a difference between it's just like fear. You can fear is not or fear is not the absence of courage. How to think about that.
Right.
Fear is not the absence of courage. Just like sadness is not the absence of faith. The faith is there, but you're still going to have those human feelings, right? And that's what this sort of made me think about, because the more you practice overcoming these things, the better you get at it. So when Nadia Bolz-Weber talked about, practicing, I think she said that exact word. And it said that in the Mayo Clinic article. It said it in the other articles, Psychology Today. I think all of them mention practicing. And so in my speech, I had talked about, everybody thinks I'm so faithful, but it's because I practice my faith. It's not because I just have this inherent faithful nature. I actually have to overtly say, I'm going to have faith about this and I'm going to trust in God. And it doesn't mean it's going to be the outcome that I want, but no matter what happens, I believe that it's for the best and it's what's supposed to happen. And the more I said, if you don't feel faithful, say, I am faithful, and just keep saying it over and over again, because that's how you're going to develop that faith that you want to have. And it's the same thing. I am grateful. I am grateful for, but it's not just enough to say you're grateful. What are you grateful for? And write those things down. That your gratitude journal is sounding better and better. I might put that on my Amazon list.
You can use
it. I have 100,000 empty journals in my house, but I'll buy one more.
And you don't have to buy a journal if you don't want to. You could put it in your notes app in your phone.
There you go.
Or even, you could make reminders out of it that pop up and remind you to be grateful.
That's a good idea.
That's something.
That's a good idea. I wonder if there's a Bible study about gratitude. That would kind of be cool.
There's got to be. There's got to be.
Got me thinking. We'll have to look for that. Well, this has been a very good discussion about gratitude.
Yeah.
Perfect timing for it. We just celebrated Thanksgiving and we're going into the holiday season, so lots to be thankful for.
Yep.
Do you want to turn the tables a little bit and talk about your sauce for thought?
Sure. Actually, it's not turning them too far because we kind of it segues in, right?
Yes.
My sauce for thought today. I'm going to give credit to Clover, my child Clover.
Clover is our announcer as well.
Yes. So you've heard their voice, excuse me. And they suggested that we discuss, because it's Thanksgiving week and today is Black Friday, they suggested that we talk about how Black Friday, the idea of Black Friday, and where did that come from, and why are we so obsessed with the idea of that we have to, run out and buy, and the consumerism and getting overwhelmed with all of that, and how it seems like such a negative thing when we've literally less than 24 hours, 1 second really from Thanksgiving to once the clock changes and all of a sudden it's Black Friday. We went from the attitude of gratitude to the attitude of this, fight consumerism, get it, get your stuff, buy it now, and
commercialism.
Exactly. And so it just like switches gears entirely, and it just seems like ridiculous. And I know the idea that most people, and even myself, I have a bunch of stuff saved in my email waiting for when I go sit down later so I can go and see what's on sale. And yes, it's fantastic to get to save money, and I think that's what drives most people to it. But I think if we look at our attitude of gratitude, and keep it present in our minds while we're shopping, nothing wrong with you going and getting a deal if somebody wants something for Christmas, and that's about giving, and the giving part's a good thing, but we need to keep our hat of attitude of gratitude on while we're doing that shopping, and not and that's one of the good things about online shopping for Black Friday, is that we're not out having to little fisticuffs with the lady over the 57-inch screen TV, or whatever. I don't even know if that's a real TV size. I just threw that out there.
My
you
husband would know.
You see, it's a popular trope on the sitcoms, just like the romantic, people not wanting to get together because they're afraid to mess up their relationship. It's the Black Friday episode, and you see everybody. Superstore had episodes like that, and I know there was an episode of one of those kids shows, Victorious, I think, that was one of the shows my kids watched. I think there was an episode where they got locked in the store on Black Friday, but they, you see these people just fighting each other to get in, and they're tossing and tussling over a popular toy or whatever, and they're all offering money, trying to get whatever the hot toy of the year is, whether it's Princess Unicorn, whatever. That's another Office reference. Sorry, I just can't stop with the Office references.
We're used to it.
But so that's something to think about today in particular, and going into the Christmas season. So think about feeling gratitude while you're doing all that shopping, and
grateful you have the money to do it, right?
Yeah,
some people don't. Yeah,
grateful you have people to buy for.
That's true too.
Appreciate.
The more gifts you have to buy, the more people you love, right?
Right.
Or maybe you just feel obligated to buy them a gift, even though you don't really like them most of the time. Now,
and remember that the people out there who are serving you at these stores,
yes,
they are real people with real families and real lives and real feelings, and the other people, same thing. So try and be kind while you are out in the world. Something to think about.
Awesome.
Some saucy thoughts.
Good sauce for thought. You made me think of something else, and that is appreciating the people who are in your lives that you normally don't even think about, like the receptionist at your doctor's office, or the postman, or the garbage man, or other people. I remember one year AJ and I went way out of our way to acknowledge people that were like that served us in some way, but we didn't ever really thank them. And so we bought gift cards for all of the guys on the garbage truck. We bought a bunch of gift cards and we had them ready. And when the mailman put the mail in the box on the 24th, or whatever the last day was before the holiday, well, I guess it would have been the 24th or the 23rd, we would run to the door and give him a gift card. And then when the garbage truck pulled up, we ran outside and gave all the garbage men, all the sanitation workers, I guess is the appropriate way to say it, gift cards. And we did that one year, and it was so much fun. And then we moved and haven't really had as much regularity with knowing the people that we knew. We gave a gift card to the gentleman who did the security patrol in our neighborhood. We don't have that anymore, but the guy that used to do that. And just appreciating people if you have the ability. We don't always have the money to do stuff like that, but you could do muffins or even a bottle of water or something to acknowledge those people. It's so much fun to recognize people who normally do not get appreciated. So, but while you're thinking about that this week and throughout the holiday season, but mostly till we meet again, make yourself a priority.
And take care of you.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for joining us. Make sure you subscribe to keep up on all the latest sauce. See you next time.